a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but that beauty, a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this.
Hi, my name is Honora. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior at Kalamazoo College in Michigan. I'm majoring in biology and psychology with a concentration in neuroscience, and this summer I have the awesome opportunity to be a part of the 2022 North Dakota State University Deeper cohort. Today, I want to ask you, what comes to mind when you think of standardized testing? Go ahead and take yourself back in time to when you were in grade school and your teachers sat you down in a room or computer lab and told you to stay still and take a statewide assessment. Or think about high school, when perhaps you took the ACT or SAT. Most of us, at least initially, had an inclination to want to do well on these tests, and in some cases there were high stakes associated with doing well. Did you ever think to question why these multiple-choice, widely distributed instruments are used to measure and compare your progress as a student, and whether this method is fair or even effective? A common narrative in the Montessori school I attended was that standardized testing is inequitable, and my grade school teacher never failed to throw in the quote, "Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." This struggle of equity in testing creeps into every level of education. And at the undergraduate level, where students are just beginning to learn more specialized knowledge in pursuit of a career, it becomes crucial to measure student learning gains in their courses. Whether you're an undergraduate student yourself, a teacher, a parent, a sibling, or a friend of an undergraduate, it is in all of our best interests to look out for and develop an understanding of the most effective and equitable way to quantify what these students are learning as they prepare to take their knowledge forward into a career and into a society. I have recently had the opportunity to learn about a standardized assessment tool that may have the capacity to accurately measure what is being learned by undergraduate students, both in and outside of STEM. The standardized tool used to measure what undergraduates are learning that I'm referring to is known as a concept inventory. Concept inventories are statistically validated means of assessment that are often referenced as being two-tiered, meaning that they have multiple choice questions that are accompanied with a prompt that asks students to explain their reasoning as to why they chose the option they did. This prompt, asking students to explain their reasoning, is part of what sets concept inventories apart from other standardized multiple choice tests. Asking students to elucidate why they are picking a particular choice gives whoever is looking at the test insight into what the thought process of the student was, and perhaps what misconception led to a student picking an incorrect answer. When someone who is grading a test only has multiple choice questions to go off of, how does that grader determine that a student who answered correctly didn't just guess? Or conversely, what if a student who answered incorrectly actually understands the process and background to get the correct answer? They were just thrown off by the wording or specific application of the question. Through the use of concept inventories in any subject, professors and education researchers have the opportunity to identify specific misconceptions that students have, and even have the capacity to identify common misconceptions among certain groups of students. If concept inventories can accurately do this, the use and analysis of these tests can be the foundation for curricula reform in classes that in turn improve the quality of education for undergraduate students. This is already happening, and hopefully this implementation of concept inventories can also lead to curricula reform that promotes equity in the classroom. With any standardized test, however, ethnic, gender, cultural, socioeconomic, and geographic biases are often weaved throughout the creation, administration, and evaluation of standardized tests. That being said, more current models of concept inventories, such as the Microbiology Concept Inventory published by Poston et al. In 2017, are designed by being subjected to many rounds of development and redevelopment, constantly being reformed by researchers based on student responses. In addition, concept inventories, both old and new, are being evaluated for the biases they hold in efforts to mitigate them. As concept inventories continue to progress, it's imperative to think critically about what tools we use to assess student learning and what the potential consequences are of not actively seeking the most equitable means to do so. Additionally, I encourage you to think about what types of reform we could see in classrooms everywhere if we were able to accurately use concept inventories to identify common misconceptions that students have. Thanks for listening. Have an awesome day.